So, is my screen visible? Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, in today's lecture, we will be discussing about generations of computer. In the previous lecture, we discussed about what are the basics of computer. Fine. What are characteristics of computer? Then we discussed types of computer. Fine. And today we will be discussing about various generations of computer. Basically, we are having 5 generations of computer. Just like we talk about human beings, there are which generation we belongs to. Similarly, computers have different generations. So till now, we are having total 5 generations of computer. So let us do them one by one. Whenever we are talking about generations of computer, it has evolved from a large size simple calculating machine to a smaller but much more powerful machine. It means in the early stages, the computer were simply, they were very large in size. Just like we discussed, they were mainframe computers, microcomputers, they were very large in size, and there were some problems with those computers. Those computers took lot of space. If we want to place that computer, they were consuming a lot of space. At the same time, they were heavy also. We can't move them easily. They were not portable, and even they were electronic devices, and there are number of chips, integrated circuits attached to that. So those gets heat up very easily. They got heat up very fast. So they evolved from large size simple calculating machine to smaller. Today's machines are smaller in size, but they are more powerful. The evolution of computer to the current state is defined in the terms of generation. This evolution is known as generation of computer, and each generation of computer is designed based on new some technological development. Means in the first generation there were some limitations, in the second generation those limitations was overcome, and we got better computers, and this keep on going. Means with each and every computer, the computers were becoming faster, smaller in size, but they were becoming more powerful. Now we are having total 5 generations. In this section, we will be discussing about all the generations. So this was the first generation. As you can see in this corner, this is a device. This is basically a device that was present in computer. This was electronic device, integrated circuit device. Fine. So this device was placed in the computer that gets heat up very fast. That's why computer were needed to be put in air condition. Basically, these computers were using vacuum tubes. This device is known as a vacuum tube, which is a sealed glass tube. As you can see over here, this is a sealed glass tube, and it contains a near vacuum which allows free passes of electric current. From this device, electric current was passed for circuitry and magnetic drums to the memory. These were often very enormous and taking up entire room. This was very large in size, and it took very even the space of a full room. So first generation computers basically relied on machine language. They were not understanding the languages like C, C++, Python, Java. Those languages were not understood by the first generation computer. First generation computer understand only language of binary, that is only 0 and 1. First generation computers understand only machine language, that is 0 and 1 only. They were very expensive, they were very high in cost, they were expensive to operate. Even in addition, they were using they were consuming lot of power supply, lot of electricity was consumed by these computers, and they were also generating lot of heat, which caused breakdown of the computer. And the first generation computer examples of first generation computers were UNIVAC and ENIAC. These are the two names of first generation computers. So these are the examples of first generation computers. As you can see these two images, these were the computers of first generation. You can see lot of space is being taken by this computer. This is a single computer, and it is taking lot of space. Entire room is full with this computer. So it was simply an electronic device. This was simply electronic device. It was nothing else. And it was the first device to hold memory. So we can say this was first generation computer was simply electronic devices, but there was one more thing, and that thing was these electronic devices were consisting of memory cards. It was having some memory. And what were the various disadvantages of these computers? They were very bulky and large in size. They use vacuum tubes that can burn up very fast due to heat being produced, and they were producing lots of heat. And there was maintenance issues with these first generation computers. After this first generation computer, we have second generation computer. The second generation came into existence in 1956 and lasted up to 1963. So the age of second generation computers was from 1956 to 1963. But in second generation computer, instead of using vacuum tubes, they used transistors. So these transistors replaced the vacuum tubes and ensured the second generation computers. This second generation computer moved from cryptic binary machine language to symbolic. We have already discussed that first generation computers were understanding only machine language, that is, they understood only 0 and 1. But these second generation computers understand symbolic language. Certain symbols are being understood. Like the high level programming languages, support was provided in second generation computer, but there were only two devices in this, and those were COBOL and Fortran. COBOL stands for Common Business Oriented Language, and Fortran means Formula Translation. These were the two languages that were supported in second generation computer. And these are also the first computers that store the instructions in the memory. This was second generation computers were the first computer in the history they were that was storing the instructions into their memory. And this is the image of second generation computer. These look somewhat similar to our existing computers, but still they were very different. But they were smaller in size than first generation computers. They were faster than first generation computer and even more reliable. And they were using transistors. But still there was a problem with the use of transistors, that transistors were the devices that heat up very fast. They get overheated very quickly. And there were some maintenance problems also with these computers. And after this second generation computers, we were having third generation computers. And the third generation came into existence in 1964 and they lasted up to 1971. In this third generation computer, instead of using vacuum tubes or transistors, uh, they were replaced with ICs, that is integrated circuits. They were the electronic devices that are used inside the computers. So the development of the integration circuit was the hallmark and it for the third generation computer. So transistors were miniaturized and placed silicon chips. These silicon chips were known as semiconductors. So semiconductors were used in case of third generation computers. And the second generation computers were using punch cards for storing the memory. Punch card is just like your devices, like you can say your ATM card like devices or any smart card like devices. On those devices, if you want to store the data and you want to provide input to the computer, like in the first generation computer, if you want to give input to the computer, you punch that input on the card and that card was inserted into the machine, and in that way you were giving the input. There was no keyboard in first generation or second generation computer. Remember, first generation and second generation computers were not having keyboards. Fine, because they were using punch cards to provide input, and the punch cards were ATM card like devices on which the input is being punched, and that card was inserted into the machine to provide input to the machines. But in third generation computers, instead of the punch cards and printouts, they used interacted with third generation computers with the help of these keyboards, monitors, interfaced with an operating system, and they allowed the devices to run on many different applications on at one time. It means they were supporting multi-processing, multiple tasking. Multitasking means multiple applications can be run on the same computer. And then we have third generation computers. These are the images of third generation computers. So they were using integrated circuits that were very small in size. That's why it resulted in reducing the size of the computer also. They were better in performance as compared to first and second generation computer, and they were cheap as compared to your first and second generation computer. They were having less cost. And whenever we are talking about disadvantage of third generation computer, there was a disadvantage with the ICs. That is your chips, integrated circuit chips. What was the problem? They were very sophisticated chips, and they were having some problems. They can be easily broken, but they are having certain limitations also. Once they are programmed to do a particular task, they can't perform any other task. After that, we have fourth generation computers, and these fourth generation computers are still in existence. If we talk about today's computer, that are computers are fourth generation computers. They came into existence in 1971, and still we are using these computers. If we talk about which generation computer we are using, then it means we are working on fourth generation of the computers. In case of fourth generation computers, we are using microprocessors. They are the fourth generation computers, as thousands of integrated circuits were placed onto a single small silicon chip that is known as microprocessor. You are having microprocessor. A microprocessor consists of thousands of ICs, thousands of integrated circuits that are built on your integrated silicon chips. And the Intel 4004 chip was developed in 1971, and it located all the components of the computer. From the central processing unit and memory to input output devices, they all were present on a single chip. And these computers also provide the facility of graphical user interface. They supported mouse and other handheld devices. These are the images of your fourth generation computer. This is the microprocessor, the processor chip, which is performing all type of processing. And this is the computer that we are sporting. And last but not least, we have fifth generation computers. So these fifth generation computing devices are based on artificial intelligence that we are talking about today's, like robotics and all other machines. They are artificial intelligence. They are still in development. They are still under construction. They are not fully developed. So they are still in development. Though there are some applications such as voice recognition. The use of parallel processing and superconductors is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. The goal of fifth generation computing is to develop devices that respond to a natural language input and capable of learning self-organization. So they are basically based on machine learning, natural language processing, like you are talking about. Suppose you are giving voice commands. You are living in a smart home, and you simply say turn on the AC. You are just spoken a single word, single sentence, turn on the AC, and the AC gets turned on. Fine. And at the same time, suppose you are knocking the door. When the door is opened, your electricity power will turn on. Your room will light up. Your electricity devices will start on working. So that is fifth generation computer. And when you leave the home, all gets shut down automatically. So that is artificial intelligence, and that is your fifth generation computer. So it is understanding the natural languages. And these are the images of fifth generation computer, the computers that we are using, your laptops, desktop, or anything that comes under the category of fifth generation computer. So to summarize, if we talk about the first generation computer, they were very large in size. They were using vacuum tubes, and they were occupying a space of a full room. They were very expensive, and they were not good at performance. They don't support any input device like keyboard or mouse. They were input was supplied with the help of punch cards. And when we talk about second generation computers, in second generation computers, your vacuum tubes were replaced with the help of transistors. Again, the problem was still existing that they were not understanding your high level languages. First generation computers were understanding only machine language. Second generation computers were using transistors and it was understanding symbolic language, but still it was not understanding your high level languages. High level languages came into existence in third generation computers. After that, you have the problem that they were smaller in size as compared to first generation computer, but still they were large in size as compared to your third generation computers. And at the next step, they were still very problematic. They were producing a lot of heat. They get damaged while producing lot of heat. And after that, we have third generation computer. In third generation computer, your vacuum tubes and transistors were replaced with ICs, integrated circuits. They were smaller in size, so as a result, the size of the computer was also reduced. And these third generation computers were understanding your high level languages like COBOL and Fortran. They produce less heat as compared to first and second generation computer. They were smaller in size as compared to first and second generation computer, and so on. After that, we are having your fourth generation computers. And in your fourth generation computers, they are the computers that we are using in today's scenario. They were using processors, microprocessor, in which a number of circuits were integrated on a single device. And they were less expensive as to previous computers, and they understand all the high level programming languages. Last but not least, we have fifth generation computers. They are basically used for machine languages, artificial intelligence, natural languages processing. So they are the category of your fifth generation computers. So that was about your fifth generation computers. So if you have any doubt in fifth generation computers, I will take your doubts first. Then we will proceed towards the next unit.